I'm pumped about Six Smokies.
318 turns and 11 miles.
Man,
Right?
I feel bad for the motorcyclists that are going to be behind you guys.
They're
going to be trying to
annoyed,
they're going to be like, why are these cars here? Welcome to episode 113 of the Drag Driver Pete Show presented by Summit Racing. Tonight's episode is the Gasser Invasion, the Gasser Extravaganza, the Gasser Go Get 'em. I want to run through a few photos here while we kind of tell stories as we wrap into what I'm going to call the last 30 minutes here as we say bye to each other. But Drag Week 24, I do want to say, Jay, you were right. There were several. I haven't looked at the number, but that was a big class. There was a lot of folks that were in the Gasser class at Drag Week 2024. So I've got some photos from here. I've got some photos from other events that we've attended. So I want to go through here. I mean, I want people to know my last note here is about the rockin' race at Dragway 42 and kind of who all's going, what all people can expect to see, and then I want to talk about one other topic within that.
Don Moyer puts on the Rockin' Race. He's going to be with us at the Six Smokies. I know there's actually a few cars from around here that's coming down to the Six Smokies, and he
look at that guy.
He's having the Rockin' Race at Dragway 42 this weekend. They have big swap meet, tons of bands. They have funny cars, front engine dragsters. The only modern car that's going to be there is Larry Dixon. Usually brings his two-seater out and makes a couple passes.
I think the Luckers are coming.
Yeah, Jeffrey and Jeff are coming out just to make some exhibition passes. You know, they have a jet-powered Amish buggy. They have, all kinds of different things. So you could bring your whole family out, and there's always something to see or something to do. It's a pretty good event. I mean, usually, they get 500 cars out there,
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's anything from like the old AFX cars. They're having the 409 Nationals, front engine dragsters, nitro cars, nitro cars, pretty much everything. Supercharged Gassers of America, they're going to be out there. Scott Rods, there will probably be 5, 6, 7 different classifications for like AA gassers.
Gas, yeah.
So, and nostalgia gas cars. So it's a pretty cool event.
Maybe one we got to add on to the list.
I've done it. Watched a couple of times. This will be the first time racing and actually staying there all week. So look for the I'll have the truck there and the Winnebago.
Yeah, we're taking our Henry J down, both of our Willies down, and
awesome.
Then we have a bunch of cars going down, so should be a good time.
So let me run you guys into this topic because this is something that's on my mind all the time. How do you take an event that's 4 days like that, and how do you add in like a drag and drive class? Everybody says we have so many events and it's so crazy. We haven't even tapped that market. Like Tom did a little bit with the NMCA replacement races, but like nobody's really partnered with some races like that. If you were a pretty decent promoter, you could go in and get, it's a successful event, 30 or 40 cars, and people drive 100 miles a night after they're done racing during the day. Or like, I don't know how that race is set up, if it's 2 days of qualifying and then 2 days of heads up racing, but there's something there.
Yeah, wasn't the plates and 28s pretty popular that they did last year, and they had a drag and drive class. I don't think I'm not sure how many miles they drove between.
Yeah,
but I think they pulled it off.
Like
Yeah, they pulled it off.
I think a lot of these big events, though, it's probably the promoters. Like a big event like this, there's so much going on that they would need someone else to take charge and run that section of it, which would.
Yeah.
But I know that even I believe the weekend of Six Smokies, there's one in Ohio, a drag and drive, which is right in our backyard, and we're going to end up going to Six Smokies. But we are going to have a couple cars that are going to stay back and probably do I think it's called Skips.
Buckeye Skips.
Buckeye Skips, yeah.
Yep.
And we're going to have a couple cars that are going to stay back and do that. So it should be kind of hopefully help everyone out.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm pumped about Six Smokies and having 80 cars. I didn't know that. That's pretty impressive, man. That's going to make for a great time. That's for sure. It's I can't imagine
nice scenery.
Oh man.
The drives are going to be epic.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
is Tail of the Dragon day one by chance?
What's that?
What's that?
Is Tail of the Dragon on the drive for day one by chance? Anybody
I
know?
don't
It's
believe
not day
so.
one. Not day one.
It would be, I think it would be going, I would guess it would be after like Knoxville area, because you would have to go back down through North Carolina, Georgia, and then back to
Right.
Alabama.
Yeah, so the wife and I are going to fly into Nashville a couple days ahead of Six Smokies, hang out with some friends, and then we're going to rent a car or something and go down and do day 0 and day 1, and then we're going to party Monday night, I guess, in Nashville with everybody, and then watch racing Tuesday, and then fly back home because I've got the Midwest Drag Race Series Pro Mod stuff ends. The season ender is that weekend, so I'm like, so
318 turns and 11 miles.
man,
Right?
I feel bad for the motorcyclists that are going to be behind you guys.
They're
going to be trying to like. They're going to be like, why are these cars here?
Yeah.
Does that do
that's what I've
80% of these
before.
cars have
Yeah.
spools? What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The spool's,
Yeah.
my spool's coming out. I said that. I
Yeah,
think I said
hopefully it's not raining.
that. Yeah.
Was it mechanical?
Wow. Yeah, that's
Some really skinny, non-grippy street tires on for that drive.
on the back.
Bicycle tires.
Yeah, and just at the end of it, just be ready to be done with them. Just go get new ones or other
Yeah.
used ones from the tire shop.
Pretty much.
Yeah. As we wind this down, guys, give us one more story as we wind this. Somebody tell me something cool. One adventure you've had. You've helped somebody. You won your class with some adversity. What's something you got?
Probably my best. My first drag week I did was 2016. I took my son, which was 9 years old at the time. So that was a week of, good bonding with him. Taught him a lot. It was hot in 2016, so I think that was probably one of my better ones. So just doing it with all my family, all of my boys, my dad, friends I've met along the way, friends I see now more often just because of the drag and drive stuff. So
Matt, what about you?
Well, other than sick week this year, this was the first time I've ever brought my wife on a drag and drive, and she's completely hooked now. She absolutely loved it. And thank our lucky stars that everything that broke we were able to fix and continue on, like the prior 2 years. But the one memory that really kind of sticks out in my mind is last year on sick week again, when we ate the cam and lifters. We were stuck in the middle of some wildlife refuge on our way to Bradenton. When we heard the noise, we pulled over, and Reggie and I get out. We start tearing valve covers off, and we heard rustling in the weeds. And I looked up, and I shined my flashlight, and I looked back over to see, what Reggie was doing. He wasn't standing there anymore. He'd already gotten back in the car, and he wasn't getting out because there was alligators in the weeds.
Nope.
That was I remember passing you.
He made it pretty clear when the rescue truck came to pull my car and trailer down to the truck stop that he was going with that guy and I was going to sit on the side of the road with my trailer because there was alligators in that swamp and he wasn't having any part of that. So that was
that was dark. I remember passing you.
Oh my gosh, it was dark.
I was like, Jesus, I'm like, is that Matt's car? I
Yeah.
mean, it was pitch black.
Yeah, pitch black and
boonies.
lots of rustling in the weeds in the swamp. He says, "You bring your gun?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "Good. I'm going with him to take your car to the truck stop."
Matt, what about re-straightening your front axle this past year?
Oh yeah, when we ratchet strap it to the trailer that already had bent ramps that I had borrowed. So I had borrowed a trailer from my neighbor, and I borrowed a truck from Scott Kleppinger to even get there because neither my truck or my trailer was ready. Then we bend the front axle doing the big wheelie. So we strapped it to a bent up trailer, used this 20-ton bottle jack, and walked it back and forth on the axle. My daughter and I ran into the hardware store and bought a 2-inch piece of Schedule 40 pipe and 4 U-bolts at the Tractor Supply place and clamped it to the axle and went right back out and drove the damn thing. And then we blew second gear out of it in Gainesville. Gainesville has not been good to me the last couple of years. But we figured out right away how to shift it like a power glide, and we finished the week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Reggie, I know you got some good stuff.
Oh, you said controversy. I have some controversy. See this? I don't know if you can see this right here. It says I got first place in the hot rod class, but they wouldn't give me an orange helmet. Yeah, we argued and argued about it. He said, "Well, you didn't win." He started calling it a group then instead of my class, and I said, "Well, it says I'm first place in the hot rod class." But anyway, so that's my gripe with them guys right now.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, they're only extra large anyways. It doesn't even fit my head.
So
it has to stay on the shelf.
So here it is. You've got the guy right there on the left that won the whole damn thing. I got fastest one B gas. You got hot rod. Neither one of us got the damn orange helmet. This guy over here's got the orange helmet.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But
I'll share it with you guys if it makes you feel better, though.
You'll never get it back.
But my good story, I guess, because it was so recent, was this mega race, last month or whenever it was. Coolest thing, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but two of my youngest boys were there with me the whole week, and it was such fulfilling. I haven't figured out a word yet, but watching them all week run side by side and just having a blast. Both of them were duking it out with each other, and they just had a good time together. And then I'm just sitting here watching them just going down the track side by side, and they weren't. That's what was cool was they weren't. That one of them was running a 12:18, and the other was running a 12:5. So they were pretty much right beside each other the whole time. Every time they would run,
that's awesome.
It was so gratifying. I don't know what the word was, man. It was just good.
Yeah.
So far, that's been my absolute best experience in this whole thing. Was just watching them that whole week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
Jay, give it to us, man.
I would have to say my worst finish, but still placing, would be 2021 when I piled the car up at US 131. Hit the wall about 130 plus miles an hour, wheeled off the end. Everybody comes running down, the crew, and they're like, "You okay?" Blah, 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 And I'm like kind of pissed off for a second, but I thought to myself, wait a minute, that happened after the finish line, right? And the guy from the shack says, "Yeah." I said, "Did I get a time slip?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's back at the shack." And he's looking at me in amazement. And I said, "Well, that means I finished the week. I won my class. I still took second place. This is awesome." And they were like just totally blown away that I was more excited. I still got my slip. I just piled the 55 completely up. It's a ball of shit. And I'm worried about that time slip, so that I finished the week and got my second place. And, with the finished it out because it was off the track, went down, turned my slip in, ended the week then, and loaded the car up. But it was just funny to see like the excitement that I had just because I finished the week. It was, I ruined a perfectly good car, but it was, I still got my second place and finished the week. So it's probably one of my biggest, I don't know, it wasn't an accomplishment or anything, but it was like, okay, well, at least I still finished. I didn't have to break down through the week and go get my trailer. I made it to the end. Literally made it to the end.
And that car came back drag week of 24.
Yeah, it came back.
And you're like a movie star. You're on.
Yeah, he is.
I wanted to have my redemption at US 131, and like just to make a nice solid pass. And it started out the same way as it started out in 21. The guy in front of me broke. I watched, because I was in the water box, I watched Goldstone wipe out. And I was like, oh, man, they backed me out of the box. So the guy in front of me this time breaks his car, oils the track down, backed me out of the box. I was thinking, oh, shit. This is exactly how it started last time. But I made my pass, and the car's working the same as it did back then. Right off the trailer, 982 and run its 980s, and it was good enough for naturally aspirated for me. So, but that was my. That's probably there's a bunch of stories here and there, but that was a pretty good one to finish the week and still take my award.
Yeah, that's awesome, Mike.
I'd probably start with 2019, our first event. And, we went in with the mindset, we just want to survive, and we struggled, and we survived. And I just remember the last day, made our pass, and then I'm driving back to where we're pitted at, and I pull in, and they said, they just announced you got third in B gas. I'm like, what? How the heck did I get third in B gas? Well, because nobody else survived. I'm like, all right, I'll take that. 15-second average because we struggled so bad. And then just the next year they used the Fairlane for the announcement for the next year drag week tracks, and just the fact that people are kind of getting what we're trying to do with the cars. You know what I mean? They're kind of like, yeah, man. Mike Galimi, he interviewed us that for drag week 2019, so people kind of dig our stuff. So and we just had the truck. The last race that Dad's ever going to do, his health is failing, was Sig really was drag week 2024, and he didn't make it the whole way. He's still with us. He just got really ill from the heat and everything. But they put the truck in the Sick magazine last month or last issue from all the pictures and stuff they took of me and him at Sick Week in 2024.
Oh,
So
cool.
that kind of stuff's important to me.
Yeah.
Making memories. And probably another big part of that is really getting to know my dad as somebody other than just my dad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You spend a week with somebody straight. That's way different than, coming over for a barbecue or come and help with move something around the house or something. It's a much different situation. So I'm pretty thankful that this kind of event has allowed, me and my dad to really could become a lot closer. Not that we weren't, but just another level of close. And then, your friends, spending time with your friends and really tightening that bond. And I consider myself really, really lucky to have the close friends that I do have.
Yeah, that's awesome. Rob, send us out, dude.
Yeah, I'm kind of going to have to roll with Reggie on this one. Like this year, not having my car for Mega Week, but it was all right because with both the girls racing this year, McKenna, her first time racing solo by herself, running 14-0, being out of Junior Street, and then Skyla starting Junior Street this year. So just being able to be there and help them get through and not have to worry about my junk, it was a whole good time.
That's awesome.
And I didn't have time to mess with my car, even if I wouldn't have, because I'd get McKenna up because Junior Street ran right after 14-0. So I'd get McKenna through. I'd have to get her up there so she gets the front of the line. So we'd go stage. That way I'd have time to get her through the water, up to the line. And then I'd be up there with my helmet and I'd run back to the staging lanes and Skyla would be driving around the corner by herself. And I'd jump in the car so we could get up there and make her run.
How cool. Man, that's awesome. Well, y'all, I want to say thank you for coming on tonight. I appreciate you guys spending nearly 3 hours with me here. And Eric, obviously, was on here for a good while, too. We appreciate you guys doing this. This was, I think it come about late last week. Big shout out to Matt Donovan for doing that.
Yeah, big shout out to Matt.
A lot of times for folks that are watching this, if you have some stories you want to tell, you need to tell me. That's really how this happened. So thank you for putting that out there, saying, hey, let's do this. We really did need this. We needed an opportunity for people to meet you guys, one, so they know who they're going to talk to when they're at these events, but then two, like to hear these stories and help push that gasser, drive on folks, because it's one of the coolest classes that's out there for sure.
I agree.
That definitely.
We agree.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So I'll say this. I'm going to put you guys all backstage, but then hang out with me for a minute because I want to talk. But we're not going to talk for an hour after we end this, I promise.
Thanks, Mike.
I still have to pack for a rockin' race.
That's right. All right, guys. Thanks again. Let me finish this thing out. Stay with me. All right, let me go through here, get these guys shut down. For the folks that are listening on the podcast, thank you so much. You probably just need to go over and find it on YouTube and just watch. This is probably way more fun to watch in person than listen to on the podcast, but we do appreciate everybody that's over there doing that. So let me end this show out here. Again, I want to say thank you so much to Performer Built for their work here with us at Drag Driver Pete. We appreciate them a whole lot. And then, guys, thank you so much for being a race car friends. You guys are awesome. Everybody that's on here tonight, everybody that made comments tonight, everybody that liked and shared and commented and blah, blah, all the stuff that you're supposed to do. We appreciate you guys very much for doing that. Thank you for being our race car friends. And then thank you to our sponsors who make all of this possible. They truly do. So if you're looking to do some shopping, please hit these guys up. Summit Racing, Deech Works, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Change 3D, WAF Racing, Power Tube TV, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds. We appreciate you guys. We will see y'all on Saturday morning for the Drag Driver Pete News, which is an hour-long show that has no guests and is all the news you could want from the Drag and Drive community. So we'll see you soon. Bye.